A profile on her site notes, after years of feeling too much, Aurora Remember finally realized that intensity is the source of her greatest power. Now, instead of beating herself up about not measuring up to her own self-imposed standards, she is on a mission to help gifted and outside-the-box thinkers befriend their brains and use their fire without getting burned through her Embracing Intensity podcast and community, coaching, and strengths-based educational assessment.
A lot of labels are useful in that they help us find the help that we need and help connect with other people who have those experiences. But at the same time, if we're too reliant on labels, then they can become a sole focus of our identity or a hyperfixation, or they can also serve to separate us from other people and create an us and them situation. And so labels have always been kind of a tricky thing in my world. And I realized that it's a similarity that most of the people in my community have. They identify with the concept that I talk about: intensity, giftedness, excitability, twice exceptionality, all of those things, but they don't necessarily identify by those labels at all times. It's not something that defines them, and it's not something that they want to define them, but it's helpful in finding those of us who have similar experiences. And for example, nobody really likes the term gifted, and I don't really love the term twice exceptional either, but those are the terms we have. They're the technical terms for certain phenomenon that are very real and are not talked about enough, especially in adults. And so in my early work, I focused on things like intensity and those different aspects, but until I started outright using the term gifted and twice exceptional, I really wasn't reaching as many people as I knew I should, because it's the term that people know. And a lot of people don't know the term twice exceptional, but once you know it, that's the term to look up, because there really is no other term. And so it's always been such a tough call for me, because I don't want to over-identify with any one aspect of my identity. I don't want to over-label and focus entirely on that one label, but because it really does bring with it a unique personal experience, it's helpful to have those labels so that we can find other people. Same with various neurodivergencies and all of those things that connect us, because finding other people who've had similar experiences when you've had a lot of people who just don't really get us or don't really get what's going on or the challenges that we're facing is really invaluable, especially when you have these higher skills that people think you must be just lazy because you're not able to meet your potential. And it's extremely frustrating, and it's a very unique experience to having the evidence that you have this high potential, while at the same time not being able to fully realize it because of executive functioning skills or whatever other things are getting in the way. Another label that I actually like a little bit better, but even less people are familiar with, is the term asynchronous. So when looking at the definition of giftedness, asynchronous is actually one of the key components to giftedness. And asynchronous development means that you develop different parts of yourself at different rates. So if you're looking at a child who is developing asynchronously, that means that their cognitive ability may be up here, or their math skills may be up here, but then their social emotional or their emotional regulation or something else is way down here. And so because of that asynchronous development, it can be a challenge sometimes. And that to some degree is a component of giftedness in general, where we have these highs and these lows that are asynchronously developed. But in those of us who are twice exceptional, it's even more extreme. That means that our highs are very high, but our lows are even lower to the point where they've become a disability. And that is why twice exceptionality is such a unique challenge. But the concept of asynchrony is something that really resonates with me and really is a defining factor of both giftedness and twice exceptionality.
Follow link in description to learn more.